Not a week goes by where there's not a terrorist attack somewhere in the world, and it just happened to be France again today. A new terrorist attack happened. 80 plus people dead from what I've read, from the reports I've seen, from the TV I've watched. 80 people dead, massacred, lives ruined. And, these terrorist attacks, it's getting to a point where I'm so used to it, I don't think it's surprising anymore. How can anyone look me in the eyes and say they're surprised there was a new terrorist attack? No one can say that, because look at the history of the past year and a half, 2 years. There's been a terrorist attack every week or so. It's getting to a point where it's becoming predictable. It's dehumanizing us. And by dehumanizing, I mean that it's becoming so frequent, we're almost unaffected by it anymore. When the first terrorist attack, or like 9/11, put 9/11 in perspective. When that terrorist attack happened, the world was in awe, right? When that terrorist attack happened, the world was in awe, because nothing like that had ever happened before. And I'm not comparing this to that, but I'm saying, look at the past 10, 12 terrorist attacks. Each one, less and less reaction. Like, nobody's crying on the streets, nobody's whining. I'm sure someone is in France, but over here it's not affecting us, And I don't want to sound like I don't care, because I really do. I feel for these people. I feel horrible for their loss, but it's getting to a point in our society, all over the world, where the terrorist attacks are becoming so constant, so consistent, so often, that it doesn't affect us anymore as people. We're used to showing emotions for these things. When a dog dies in a movie, put this in perspective. When a dog dies in a movie, people cry. People show emotion. That's what humans are supposed to do. But people hear that 80 people, 80 real people, not people on a movie screen, 80 real people died. And nobody bats an eye. Nobody's crying. At least here, at least in the gym I was in, people who read it, they saw a small emotion on their face, but besides that, they didn't cry. They didn't get on their feet and, any of that. Whereas in a movie, a dog can die and people are crying. I feel like these terrorist attacks, they've become so often, they're so common now, that you can't be surprised by them anymore. Week by week, another terrorist attack, another terrorist attack, another terrorist attack. And I'm not surprised anymore at this point. It's like, what's new? What's new? It's like a Hollywood actor gets arrested for, a DUI. What's new? It's been happening every week for the past decade. It's the same thing as this. But another point I really want to highlight is, people don't understand that 80 people died. This goes back to the dehumanization point. 80 people are dead. I don't know if I made that word up, dehumanization, but I don't really care. But 80 people, innocent lives, have been ruined. 80 or more. It's like 80 and growing, because people were injured and shit. But, 80 or more people, innocent people, killed. What does that say to us as a society when 80 people can die and we do nothing? Because that's what we're going to end up doing here. We're not going to take any real measure, and you know that. Anyone who's intelligent enough to, have any real perspective on this thing knows we're not going to do dick. And neither's the French government. They're going to claim they're doing everything. This goes back to the point I made in my first video about the false sense of security. The government's going to claim they're doing everything they can to solve the problem. They're going to be claiming, oh, we're looking deeply into this. And you know what's going to happen in 3 weeks? No one's going to fucking remember this. No one's going to remember this in 3 to 4 to 5 weeks. Mark my words. No one's going to remember this. And, it's sad to say, but it's the reality. Nobody remembers the old terrorist attack. It's rarely brought up anymore, at least where I'm around. It's never brought up anymore. It's old news. And this will be the same thing in 4 weeks. Give it a month or two. The same thing. So I feel like we've gotten to a point where it's like, what the fuck are we going to do? Does anyone have a solution to these terrorist attacks. Because what I hear in the news, what I hear from our leaders around the fucking world is we're not doing shit right now. Like, we are not doing anything, to my knowledge, besides bombing some, village in, bumfuck nowhere. What are we doing directly to stop these goddamn terrorist attacks? And, this goes back to the point of banning guns. That guy killed 80 or more people with a fucking truck. Are we going to ban trucks now? That's a horrible point, but still, the liberals, they always make that point when 80 people get killed with a gun. Oh, we need to ban guns. Well, how about we ban trucks now? Let's ban trucks. More people die from trucks a year than guns. But, again, it's like, what the fuck are our leaders doing? What are they spending all our trillions of dollars in fucking income on? Why aren't these terrorist attacks being stopped? So it's bothering to me. It's like, wow, it boggles my mind. It really boggles my mind. Sorry, I had to type something in my phone. But the point is, it's getting to a point in our society, all around the world, not just the U.S., in France too, where I guarantee you, people in France are like, what the hell's going on? Why are we paying all these taxes and not shit's getting done? Why is this terrorist happening? And you know what it is? The truth is, people are crazy, and people are going to commit crimes. That's just how it is. But at the same time, on some level, as a citizen, who pays taxes, you're thinking, what the fuck's going on? Why aren't these terrorist attacks being stopped? Like, why are we giving all this money to a group that's failing? And, that's the reality of it. You don't have a choice to pay the government's money. You got to give it to them. You don't have a choice to pay taxes. You got to give it to them. Even if you know they're going to waste most of the money, you still got to pay up. So, this terrorist attack, I don't want to say it proves my point, but it will prove my point in a month or two. Mark my words. In 2 months from this point right here, this terrorist attack will not be brought up. It will be a dead subject, or a new terrorist attack will take its place. That's how bad it's gotten, people. Where a terrorist attack like this doesn't even stay in our minds for over 2 months. That's how bad it's gotten. That's how consistent these things are now. It's disgusting. It really is. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I just really had to rant about this because it was just on my fucking mind all day after I saw it. Did a little research on it. I mean, it's like, thousands of people a year killed like this. It's disgusting. Please subscribe.